Have you ever wondered why some men become legendary in a woman's memory, while others are just a fleeting episode, forgotten by morning? The answer is simple, but it lies far from the surface. It's found in the very depths that Carl Jung called the shadow, a hidden part of the personality where true, raw desires dwell. This is a territory that good guys fear to tread, but where those who understand reign supreme, knowing that true passion is always a game played on the edge of the forbidden society and upbringing impose upon a woman, role of being modest, reserved, and understandable. This is her persona, the social mask she wears for the world. But within her unconscious, as Jung asserted, there always lives a yearning to be deciphered, to be conquered, even to be slightly taken by force, not a physical force, but the force of your understanding of her true nature. She secretly craves a man who is bold enough not just to satisfy her body, but to free her soul from the shackles of propriety. And today, we will embark on that very journey. We will uncover the 6 main secrets of her subconscious, 6 keys to the part of her nature that she will never speak of herself, but desperately hopes you will find. But I must warn you, if you only watch until the halfway point, you will only learn half the truth about her. And about yourself. The most important secret, the one that ties all the others together, is at the very end. By the way, have you ever noticed that the strongest desires are the very ones we're taught to keep silent about? This is a universal law of the psyche that Jung wrote so much about. Type yes in the comments if you agree. Part 1. The forbidden territory of pleasure. Let's start with the most controversial, yet most powerful point. Many men mistakenly see various tools for pleasure as their competitors, a threat to their own masculinity. This is a fundamental misconception, born from the ego, not from a desire to understand a woman. A true master is never afraid of his tools. On the contrary, he masters them all perfectly, because his goal isn't self-affirmation, but the result. And in our case, the result is her complete, unconditional immersion into a world of sensation, where you are the sole guide and the key to her world. The psychology of this moment is subtle but crucial. When you confidently, and without a shadow of a doubt, introduce a new element into your intimacy, you aren't showing weakness. You are demonstrating your strength and your absolute focus on her pleasure. It's as if you're telling her without words, I don't care about prejudices. I only care about you, and I'm willing to use everything to tear down the barriers in your mind and make you lose control. It is precisely this courage and care that shatters her internal prohibitions and allows her to open up beside you. Understand this, the female orgasm, unlike the male one, has a much more complex neurophysiological nature. The statistics that are rarely spoken of are relentless. The vast majority of women cannot reach a climax from penetration alone. Their pleasure center requires targeted, precise, and often prolonged stimulation. To ignore this fact is to consciously deprive her of the full spectrum of sensation, and to deprive yourself of the sight of a woman who has completely lost her mind with passion. Using the right tool is not a crutch, but rather a surgeon's scalpel, allowing you to target the right points with surgical precision. Carl Jung spoke of the necessity of integration, of accepting all parts of reality. In the context of intimacy, this means accepting all available methods for achieving harmony and pleasure. By rejecting something due to his own complexes or fear of appearing inadequate, a man only reveals his inner insecurity. A confident man, however, sees it as just another color on the palette, another note in the symphony he is creating for the two of them. He is the conductor, not just one of the musicians. He directs the process, rather than blindly following instincts. So, cast aside your doubts. See it not as a competition, but as a team effort, where you are the captain who has brought in a star player to guarantee victory. When she sees that her pleasure is your absolute priority, placed above your own ego, her trust in you will soar. She will realize that beside her is not just a lover, but a mature and wise partner who is not afraid to explore and to give. And that realization is sometimes more arousing than any physical contact. But even the most perfect instrument is nothing without the right atmosphere. And how to create it with one simple trick that shuts down her inner critic is what we'll talk about in the next part. Part 2. The magic of closed eyes. The second secret costs nothing, but its psychological effect is immense. It is the art of sensory deprivation. Simply put a blindfold. It may seem like a simple accessory, whether it's a silk scarf or a special mask. But the moment you take away her sight, you crack the code of her perception. Her brain, deprived of its usual stream of visual information, is forced to redirect all its resources to heighten her other senses. Hearing, touch, and smell. Every touch you give becomes 10 times more palpable. A light graze of your fingertips feels like an electric shock. Your breath on her neck sends shivers down her spine. A soft whisper turns into a deafening command to her subconscious. Jung wrote extensively about the various psychic functions, and for most people, vision is the dominant one, suppressing intuition and pure, unfiltered sensation. By removing the dominant sense, you unleash her deepest, most primal instincts. The real magic here is in the anticipation. She cannot see where you will touch her next. She doesn't know if it will be a gentle kiss or a firm caress. This uncertainty creates a colossal internal tension, which is a powerful aphrodisiac. Her body tenses in expectation, every cell screaming, "What's next?" You become the master of her reality, the director of her sensations. She is completely in your power, but it is a power she subconsciously craves, the power of a caring guide leading her through the uncharted territory of pleasure. Start slowly. Trace an ice cube across her collarbones. Whisper something provocative in her ear, and then pull back. Let her wait. Play with contrasts, from the softest strokes to confident, strong grips. She can't predict your next move, and it drives her wild in the best possible way. In this moment, her brain completely disconnects from daily worries, anxieties, and thoughts. There is only you, her senses heightened to their absolute limit, and the ringing anticipation in the air. This is not just foreplay. It is deep psychological work. You are literally pulling her out of her familiar world, where she controls everything, and immersing her in an element of pure emotion. When a woman allows you to do this, she is giving you the highest degree of trust. She becomes vulnerable, open, and at that moment, a bond is forged between you that is far deeper than ordinary physical intimacy. You show that you can control not only her body, but also her mind, her perception. And when, after such preparation, you move on to the main act, her response will be exponentially stronger, more vivid, and more emotional. It is in this state of vulnerability and heightened senses that words gain an almost hypnotic power. And this brings us to the third, verbal key to her subconscious. Part 3. Words that undress her to the soul. The third secret is one of the most underrated because men, by nature, are action-oriented, not word-oriented. But the female psyche, as Jung said, is largely built on the principle of eros, the principle of connection, relationships, and feelings. For her, words are the bridge between the physical world and the world of emotions. Dirty talk isn't about vulgarity. It's about giving her permission to be desired. Understand this key point. A woman is almost constantly in her head. She is analyzing, planning, worrying, and evaluating. Her internal dialogue never stops for a second. Your task is to pull her out of that stream of thought and ground her in the here and now. And the most direct way to do that is to talk. Talk about what you see, what you feel, what you're going to do. Your words are an anchor that chains her attention to her own body and to your actions. You don't need to be a poet or a pickup artist. Start with simple commentary. I love how soft your skin is. Your scent is driving me crazy. Watching you right now is an incredible pleasure. Feeling you this close is all I've thought about all day. These phrases may seem elementary, but they serve a crucial function. They validate her sexuality and desirability in real time. A woman doesn't just want to feel. She wants to know that you are feeling the same thing, that she is the center of your universe in that moment. Female sexuality, paradoxically, has a narcissistic component, but in a healthy, positive sense. She is aroused not so much by the act itself, but by the awareness of the effect she is having on you. Your words are the mirror in which she sees herself as beautiful, desired, and maddening. You give her permission to cast off all her complexes and doubts and simply enjoy her power over you. And the more you describe that power, the stronger it becomes. Once you master the basics, move to the next level. Voice your intentions. I want to taste you. I'm going to make you forget everything else. Now, I'm going to make you tremble. This isn't coarseness. This is a declaration of your desire, your confidence, which is transferred to her and ignites a fire in return. You are programming her for pleasure, setting the direction of her expectations. She begins to imagine what you're describing, and her body already responds to those images. By the way, if you've already learned something new and useful, just drop a plus in the comments so I can see that we're on the same wavelength and that this topic is genuinely interesting to you. Got an important nuance. You must always feel the line and know your partner. Some women like rougher, more dominant words. Others prefer more sensual and tender ones. This is a subject for dialogue, but a dialogue outside the bedroom. Ask her what she likes, what words turn her on. This will show your maturity and care. But the most important thing is don't be silent. Silence in bed is a vacuum that a woman's mind will immediately fill with her anxieties and thoughts. Your voice is the soundtrack to her pleasure. We've learned to talk. Now, imagine what happens when you combine this verbal magic with that primal, animalistic passion that Jung spoke of as the shadow side of the personality. That's next. Part 4. Primal instinct. Not brute force. We have arrived at the deepest, and perhaps for many men, the most frightening topic, the integration of the shadow. Carl Jung asserted that within every civilized person, especially a man, slumbers his primal animalistic side. Society teaches us to suppress it, to consider it something bad, wild, and wrong. But suppression only makes this energy uncontrollable. A man's true strength lies not in crushing the beast within, but in taming it and putting it to his service. On a subconscious level, a woman longs to feel this tamed power. Not violence, not cruelty, not humiliation, but a confident, passionate, almost predatory intensity. She wants to see that next to her is not just a good guy, but a man capable of protecting, dominating in a healthy sense, and taking what he wants. When you allow this energy to manifest in the bedroom, in a safe space built on trust and consent, magic happens. You cease to be just a social object, a husband or a partner, and become the embodiment of pure masculine energy. What does this mean in practice? It means that sometimes you need to cast aside tenderness and act decisively. Don't ask for permission for every move, but lead. Take her by the hand and pull her forcefully towards you. Suddenly sweep her off her feet and onto the bed. Hold her wrists above her head while looking directly into her eyes. Gently pull her hair to tilt her head back for a kiss. Squeeze her hips firmly. These actions are nonverbal signals that tell her, I want you. I am in control. Relax and trust me. The key word here is trust. A woman can only allow a man to show this side of himself if she is 100% sure of her safety. She needs to know that you will never cross the line, that you are attuned to her, that her stop is law. Raw passion is a theater in which you both know your roles. You are the strong, dominant leader. She is the one who surrenders, yielding to the element. And in this defeat, she finds her liberation. Liberation from the need to decide everything, to control everything, to be strong. She can finally just be a woman in the arms of a strong man. This is a profound archetypal scenario, embedded in our collective unconscious. The Beauty and the Beast script, where behind the outward wildness lies love and care. By showing your shadow, you don't become a monster. You become whole. You show her that you have both a light and a dark side, and you are the master of both. This makes you incredibly attractive, because a woman instinctively seeks not a refined boy, but a complete man who is acquainted with his entire nature. So, do not be afraid of your inner beast. Get to know it, tame it, and let it take the stage from time to time. Do it with love, respect, and always with her consent, which can be not only verbal, but also expressed in her response, in the gleam of her eyes, in her ragged breath. This is the edge that keeps a relationship from becoming a stagnant swamp. And when you master this energy, you will be ready for the highest level of artistry, a theater for two. Part 5. A theater for two. Fifth secret takes the relationship to a whole new level of creativity and freedom. It's role-playing. Upon hearing this phrase, many imagine ridiculous costumes and rehearsed lines, feeling awkward. But that's a superficial view. From the perspective of depth psychology, role-playing is an incredibly powerful tool for working with the unconscious, specifically with archetypes. Carl Jung taught that our psyche is inhabited by universal images archetypes: the teacher, the student, the doctor, the patient, the stranger, the captive, the conqueror. These images carry an immense energetic charge. In ordinary life, we are confined to a single role, our social persona: husband, wife, colleague, parent. These roles impose numerous limitations and expectations on us. We become predictable to each other. Role-playing is a conscious and safe way to shed these masks and, for a time, become someone else. It allows you to release those parts of your and her personality that are suppressed in daily life. A woman who is a strict boss in her life might want to play the role of a submissive student. A modest and quiet homemaker might dream of being a femme fatale, seducing a stranger in a bar. This doesn't mean she wants to be like that all the time. It means she wants to live out, to unleash this hidden part of herself. When you suggest such a game to her, you are giving her the greatest gift, the freedom to be different without judgment or consequences. You create a special space, a magic theater where anything is possible. This is incredibly bonding because you are exploring the most hidden corners of each other's fantasies together. It kills routine dead, because today you can be one couple and tomorrow a completely different one. How do you approach this without causing embarrassment? You don't have to start with costumes. Start with a simple scenario. For example, agree to meet at a bar as if you were strangers. Approach her, talk to her, flirt, seduce her as if you were seeing her for the first time. Let the game carry you away. You'll be surprised how her gaze, her gestures, her voice change when she steps out of her usual role as your wife or girlfriend, or try a scenario with a prohibition. For instance, tonight you are not allowed to touch me. Or, you can do whatever you want, but you are not allowed to say a word. Such simple rules create a new tension and force you to find workarounds, to be inventive. The point is not the complexity of the scenario, but the shift in the usual dynamic. The creation of new energy. Role-playing is a sign of a very healthy and trusting relationship. It's an indicator that you are not afraid to be silly, open, and vulnerable with each other. You are not just partners. You are co-authors, co-creators of your shared world. Couples who play together, stay together, because their bond is constantly nourished by novelty and creativity. You think this is the limit? The real magic begins when you break all the learned scripts. And the final sixth secret is the most powerful of all, because it always works. Part 6. The art of breaking the rules, the final. Sixth secret is the key that unlocks all the previous locks. It is simple in its essence, but requires constant mindfulness. This secret is pattern interruption. The female brain, and indeed the human brain in general, is biologically programmed to respond to novelty. Novelty is a signal of environmental change that demands attention. It's a release of dopamine, the hormone of anticipation and pleasure. Routine, on the other hand, is a signal that everything is stable, that energy can be conserved, and attention can be switched off. In daily life, routine is useful, but in passion, it is lethal. If your intimacy follows the same script every time a kiss, foreplay, one or two favorite positions, completion, her brain adapts to it very quickly. It knows in advance what will happen next. The intrigue vanishes, the anticipation fades, and the process transforms from a thrilling adventure into the mechanical fulfillment of a marital duty. She might be with you physically, but mentally, she'll be making a grocery list for tomorrow. To break the pattern is to do something unpredictable. It doesn't have to be something grandiose. The devil, like God, is in the details. If you always make love in the evening in bed, suddenly grab her during the day in the kitchen, pressing her against the counter. If you always have soft music playing, make love in complete silence, where only your breathing can be heard. If you always caress her gently, start with rough, dominant kisses. If you always dominate, whisper to her, "Tonight, you're in charge. Do whatever you want with me." Jung spoke of the process of individuation, the path to wholeness through constant development and the rejection of rigid forms. A relationship is a living organism that either grows or dies. Breaking patterns is that growth. You show her and yourself that you are not frozen statues, but living, changing people. Each time you break the familiar script, it's like you're getting to know each other all over again. You discover new facets in each other. Change the location. Get a hotel room in your own city. Go to a deserted beach at night. Use the back seat of a car, like when you were young. The change of scenery alone breaks 90% of the usual neural pathways and forces the brain into a state of high alert. Change the pace. Instead of long foreplay, have quick, animalistic, spontaneous sex. Or conversely, instead of the usual pace, stretch the foreplay out for hours, driving each other to the brink of ecstasy, but not allowing the main event. Constantly ask yourself, what's a way we've never tried before? This doesn't mean you need to turn your bedroom into a circus act. It means you need to remain a curious, playful explorer. An explorer of her body, her reactions, her desires. When a woman feels that you are not just using her, but are genuinely interested in studying her each time, she opens up completely. Because the most potent aphrodisiac for a woman is a man's attention. Not just his presence, but his living, active, exploratory attention. A man who constantly breaks patterns remains an eternal mystery to her, a lifelong adventure. And before we conclude, take a moment to think. Are you ready not just to hear her, but to truly understand her? So we've broken down the 6 keys to her secret world, drawing on the wisdom of depth psychology. Tools for her pleasure, the magic of closed eyes, the power of the right words, your primal energy, a theater for two, and the art of breaking the rules. This isn't just a set of techniques. It's an entire philosophy of a relationship where there is no room for boredom, selfishness, and predictability. It is the path to an intimacy where two people don't just satisfy needs, but help each other become more whole, free, and alive. And here is my main question for you. What do you think really stops people, not just women, but men too, from honestly talking about their most secret desires, even with the person closest to them. If this deep dive was useful to you, and you want more videos like this based on Jung psychology, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. That way, you definitely won't miss the next episode, where we'll dig even deeper